When I was 7, I was convinced I was a fairy. No one could tell me otherwise. In fact, to my young mind, I even knew I was a light fairy, which was how I explained the sunrises and the sunsets. I had the ability to move light with my fingers, and I would practice with the shadows every single day. See? Just like that. My imagination was wild. And my limit was the sky. Literally, because, I hadn't just yet figured out how to fly like my fellow ancestors. So 3 years later, when I was asked the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? I confidently told myself that I was going to be a secret spy princess pop star. Yes, I know. Let's let that sink in for a moment. Now, if you don't believe the person I'm describing is the same person standing in front of you today, please enjoy this little clip from me from when I was younger. As much as I know my parents are somewhere in this audience completely fawning over this video, I can now say that we are not the same person. But I'm often left wondering, was that really who I am, or am I the person I am today? The introverted, perfectionist, and organized 16-year-old high schooler. What changed? To begin, I would like to go through the life story of Billy Bobby Joanne, who is in fact an imaginary character that I just came up with. So for short, let's call her Bill. Now, through her life, we will be analyzing a few different psychological theories, such as the psychosocial theory by Erik Erikson and the psychoanalytic theory by Sigmund Freud. These various theories are used to explain how our emotional and cognitive states are altered by our environmental situations, and how sometimes you can change to be someone you're not. So settle in as we take an educational path down Bill's life. Bill was born on May 20th at 4:34 p.m. to two caring, affectionate, and amazing parents in, well, a not-so-perfect world. Nevertheless, her parents take care of her with utmost care, and feelings of trust and security are instilled. But her perfect life doesn't last too long when, dun dun dun, her parents all go back to work. Oh, how could they? She acquires mistrust, but with that comes hope. Maybe mom and dad will come home early today. According to Erikson's first stage of trust versus mistrust, individuals should develop a balance between the forces. Life can't always be filled with perfection, because where would the space for hope be? As the days move on, the seasons change, the years pass, our Bill has turned 2. Mom's running late for work, so she tries something new, and she tells her, why don't you pick out your own outfit today? She comes out in a pink tutu, inspired by Angelina Ballerina, her favorite TV show, a purple backpack, just like Dora, and a Santa hat, because she's feeling just a little chilly. While it might not be the cutest fit ever, she has acquired autonomy, the feeling of self-governance, as she realizes that she can make her own decisions. She feels a sudden burst of willpower and motivation in her life. Now, personally, making my own decisions around her age was a little bit of a rocky start. When I was around that age, I threw a huge tantrum at a Michaels store because I didn't get something I wanted. Now, that's a story you're gonna have to ask my mom for more detail. Please don't. But moral is, willpower can sometimes come with a price. Whether it was some glittery My Little Pony stickers or something else, your decisions can come with heavy repercussions. When she has turned 4, her parents enroll her in their local preschool. At first, she shies away, and she doesn't make any friends with her new classmates in fear of rejection. The result is guilt. But fear not, our girl goes back the next day and takes initiative. She invites her cubby buddy, Mary Jane, to go on the swings with her. She has now acquired the power of initiative as she realizes that she has a control over her life, and she is the one in the driver's seat of her car. Next up, at 10, she decides to compete in her 4th grade spelling bee. She practices words with her parents every day on the way to school and on the way back. And she has never felt more encouraged and more prepared before. The hard work pays off, and she advances to districts. A round of applause, please. I know. Mom takes her for ice cream after, and she is filled with new ideas of confidence and competence over her new abilities. At district, she comes close, but sadly misses the word metamorphosis. See where that's coming from? She feels inferiority over her failure, but her parents still take her out for ice cream after, and she feels new feelings of confidence as she feels less remorse. In this stage of industry versus inferiority, she balances through new ideas of success and failure as she understands what her capabilities are. While she might not be the best at spelling, at least she has tried her very best. The next stage is a little bit crazy, but personally the one that I most relate to. She has entered identity versus confusion. Now, many of you in the audience might be going through this right now, and that's completely fine. As she enters her new high school, she enters new friend groups and goes through new boundaries. She pulls away from her parents' desires and instead focuses on her own personal beliefs and morals. In this stage, adolescents are often put in difficult decisions where their morality is put into test. According to Sigmund Freud, the base motives of personality are ID, ego, and superego. In a situation, your ID can be considered primitive and is sort of humanistic. Your ego is set based on reliability, security, and societal expectations. Your superego, on the other hand, is completely based off of your personal morals and values that are acquired through your past experiences. While you might not have complete control over your ID, you have control over your ego and superego elements. Both psychologists did not put emphasis on the amount of individuality that each person has. Not everyone grows in a perfectly staged way, and not everyone has the same values and ideals. These are all independent factors that cannot be controlled. Erikson also provides an importance to the idea of identity. Finding your true identity is supposed to lead to the idea of fidelity, or being loyal to yourself and the expectations of others. Now, fidelity in the context of personality is an interesting and controversial topic to me. Growing up, I have always changed myself to fit the needs of others. Whenever I wanted to be friends with someone, I changed myself to be just like them. In fact, I can now admit that one of my favorite hobbies, which is actually reading, really only began because my friends used to read, and I wanted to have the same similarities as them. Have you ever heard the quote, "You are who you surround yourself with"? This is a perfect example of that. People can change you, sometimes for the worse, but also sometimes for the better. It matters how you perceive it, glass half full or half empty. I have struggled with my ethnicity in the past, as accepting myself where I was once considered unique scared me. My differences were not my strengths, but they were my flaws. Society has changed me to be someone I am not. We let these societal pressures, family expectations, and the opinions of others dictate how we live our lives. We try to fit into a mold that we think is expected of us, but in doing so, we lose sight of what truly defines us. So now for a little poll. Raise your hand if you have Instagram or really just like any access to the internet. Yeah, so I'm gonna assume that I can see all of your hands raised right now because I'm a little blinded by the lights at this moment. But these are all things that influence your beliefs. This morning, when you woke up, you could have seen a quote on your feed and thought, wow, I should be like that. Or you could have seen a picture of someone and been, oh my God, I wanna be her. There is a very, very fine line between the pros and cons of social media. But still, this should not dictate and change who we are. We can take shortcuts, we can move forward, but we never stop. We are always moving on and adding on to the end of our unfinished story. So I do have a little bit of a homework task for you, which I know you probably have a lot of homework or are pretty busy, but you do need to take time for this small task. When looking back at Bill's life, we can see that it was her experiences and her decisions that changed who she was. It was the fearlessness in competing in her school spelling bee, the independence in picking her own outfits, and the decision to make new friends. These are all things that changed who she was. While most of us can't go back and change our past, we can change our future. Humans are constantly changing and evolving. Every decision, every choice you make is changing who you are. For me, it was deciding to speak in this talk today. This was completely out of my comfort zone, and I can tell you I was very nervous before speaking. But when I was presented with this opportunity, I simply said, Yes, and why not? Yes, and this will happen. Yes, and I can do this. And now I look back and I have become just a little bit more confident in myself. Metamorphosis is constantly in our lives like a hidden shadow. People are changing into beautiful new human beings filled with new ideas, influenced by the world around them, but mostly the world around them that you choose. You are always in control of your life, no matter how haywire it may seem. You are the one that controls your car. You're the one in the driver's seat. No license or legal driving age needed. In a world of change, be a beacon of yourself. So if there is one thing that you should take away from this talk today, it would be this. The next time you are presented with an opportunity or face a difficult decision, I do not want to hear a no, and especially not a yes, but. In fact, I want all of you guys to make up and repeat your own yes and sentences of your own, like a personal goal, for example, such as yes, and I will try my best, yes, and I will have a positive attitude, yes, and I will work hard. So I'll give you a quick second to think about it, but I do want to hear everyone in the audience participate. Okay, so ready? 3, 2, 1. Yes, and?
I will not mess up the slides.
That sounds great. The beautiful chorus of unique humanity. Your task this week is to do one spontaneous thing you have always wanted to do because life is short. Replace the doubt in your life with positivity because even if it doesn't work out, there is a positive lesson in every situation. In failure, there is learning, and in learning, there is failure. One does not come without the other. Take every opportunity that comes your way because the little child in you deserves that kind of love. And if someone dares to judge, simply say yes and thank you.